Hello everybody. We got a nice old rainbow. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's really nice and bright. Yeah. We seem to be heading into it. Something else, huh? Alright. I wanted to talk about choices, the decisions that we make, and mistakes of things that we do and say, and how it impacts people. Now, I'm speaking a little faster because I did make a video on this and I screwed up. I didn't quite make my point. I typically am long-winded and I pause a lot and I have to think what I want to say to say exactly what I want to say. But now I think this is my second crack at it. So let me try it again, okay? Now, I got to church today and I spoke to a fellow, an old-time friend, and he was talking about this gal. Let's just call the gal Esther, and she was dating this guy named Tom, okay? And what had happened was they'd been dating for 5 years, and Tom became really good friends of the family, and Tom really became close to Esther's mother, and they just, everybody loved them, and they got engaged. They were going to get married, but 6 months before the wedding, Tom decided to break up, and instead he married another woman. Okay, so Tom gets in touch with Esther's mom and says, well, we're kind of tight on cash. Do you think we could stay over at your place in Hawaii for our honeymoon? And this other lady is, his new bride, right? So Esther's mom says, well, I don't see any harm in that. Yeah, sure. How many nights are you going to stay? A couple of nights or something like that. And she basically said, okay, yeah, okay, you can come on over. And this totally devastated Esther. Esther said, no, I don't want him coming. I do not want him coming. And Esther's mom said, well, it's okay. You have to be a Christian. You have to be loving and kind. And you just have to be at peace with it, and forgive and all that stuff. After all, we've known him so long. He's like one of the family. Well, this devastated Esther, and Esther was just very, very destroyed. He came over, had sex in the house. The new bride got impregnated, and then of course had a child. But anyway, what had happened to Esther was she became very distraught, and what Esther did was she ended up just meeting a guy, and just some guy, I don't know where they met, maybe in a bar or somewhere, but she met a guy, and within a month, after knowing him for a month, she decided she wanted to get married to him. Now, the father said, no, this is a very bad idea. And she says, well, no, I really want to get married and have kids, and this guy's not bad, he's a good guy, and we can work out his drug problem. He had a cocaine habit. And the father said, absolutely not. And the brother, Esther's brother, said, no way, this is bad news. Okay, this guy's no good. Do not marry this guy. And the father said, if you're going to marry him, I won't allow it. I'm not paying a penny. I won't support your decision to get married. And if you get married, I'm not going to attend. Okay. Well, she eventually married him, and she ruined 5 years of her life, and all her savings went down the tubes, got into debt. She eventually got divorced and didn't have kids, fortunately. Otherwise kids would have been collateral damage. Now, let's take a look at the bad decisions that were made. The obvious one, the very, very obvious one, was well, there's several obvious ones, okay? There is the mother. She said, oh, okay, what's the harm? You can come on over. And that was the first obvious one. That was a very bad decision. That in turn, Esther was already an emotional creature, and just bent out of shape. And so what that did was she went on the rebound and got married in a hurry. And she made a very foolish decision by marrying a drug addict. Okay, so that was the second obvious decision. Okay, is Esther's decision to get married in a hurry to the wrong person, right? To a bad person. Now, there are other decisions when you really analyze it. There are actually a lot of other decisions along the way that accumulated and snowballed into this pretty ugly picture. Another bad decision. I mean, the bad decision to begin with was the guy Tom. Okay, he should never have contacted Esther's mother and asked permission to stay at their home. Okay, that was an extremely bad decision. That's like putting salt in a wound. It's like kicking Esther in the teeth after breaking up with her, marrying another woman. All right, and then having kids in her house. Having sex in her house, in Esther's house. So that was a very bad decision. It's a more subtle decision. Okay, I mean, it's not on the surface because it is an outside party. Okay, there's also another decision that was very bad by the father. The father made two big bad decisions. Can you guess what they were? Okay, a lot of times when we have to make a decision or we're wondering what is right and wrong, usually follows a set of assumptions. Okay, I tend to analyze things like this, and maybe you guys might think, well, man, Robert, you're just way over analyzing this. But bear with me for a while, because this is leading up to, this video log is leading up to a bigger picture. I'm getting to a point. I'm going to eventually get to the point, not in this video log, but later on down the path. Okay, so the one big mistake the father made was that he didn't interject. We had assumed, or it had been assumed, that the mother that gave Tom the permission to stay at the home had full power. Well, I thought this was a marriage, where the mother and father sided. Okay, the father didn't say anything about it. That was a bad decision of not speaking up, not knowing, not discerning. Maybe he did discern. Maybe he knew it was a bad idea, but he just decided he didn't want to get involved, or he was just too chicken shit to speak up. Okay, for right and wrong. Okay, there's a lot of people that when they make decisions, they do not choose what is right. Okay, and they don't want to choose what is wrong, but they are aware of right and wrong, but they don't do anything and they let it happen. Okay, so that, I think, was the father's mistake. He was a big contributor. As far as if you want to get into assigning fault and blame, you bet, man, he is partially to blame. He needs to take a chunk of that responsibility. Okay, now a lot of people don't see it this way, but when you think about it, he was an accessory. If you see a crime and you don't report it, and you just let it go, or you see a crime about to take place and you just kick back and turn your head, you are an accessory. You are partially responsible for what had happened. Okay, now moving on. What was the father's second bad decision? Okay, this one's a little bit more subtle. Now, there are good decisions. There's black and there's white. Okay, there's outright evil and there's outright good. Okay, now there are bad decisions and there are good decisions. The finer points are there are good decisions and there are great decisions, and then there are great decisions and better decisions. Okay, those get into the really fine points, but let's just call good decisions, and better decisions better than good decision. Okay, so we'll just break it into two parts: bad decisions, good decisions, and better decisions. Now, this one falls into the good decision, better decision category, where the father says, no, I do not permit you to marry this drug addict, Esther, my daughter, and if you do, I'm not going to pay for the wedding. Okay, what he did, I think, was out of emotion. He is just as guilty of an emotional, impulsive act. He is just as guilty as Esther. Esther made an emotional, impulsive act in deciding to marry this drug addict, and the father, out of outrage and emotion, he said, no, don't you dare do it. I'm not attending the wedding. I'm not going to pay for the wedding a penny, and you will not receive my blessing. What I think would have been a better decision would involve understanding his daughter and saying, you know what, understanding that there might be an element of rebellion. When somebody tells you no, you can't do it, you automatically want to rebel and just do it, right? So I think a better decision would have been, okay, look, Esther, I see you're really in love with Guy, but I think you're on the rebound, okay? You just need somebody to cover up that hurt of yours. So, okay, get married, and how's about this? How's about you give it 6 months, get to know him a little better, and then get married. Okay. What I think that would have done was it would have given Esther, or it would have been actually foresight, and it would have given her some time, possibly, to get out of her rut. She would probably see the guy, and then she would have all her emotional, loving and emotional needs taken care of because she's in a relationship. And then, she just might wake up and see this, oh my goodness, this is a monster. This guy's sucking up all my money, and I'm being drained here. So those, I think, are the analysis of it. It's just not, one bad decision and going downhill. I think it's a multitude of bad decisions. Everybody's responsible. All people in party are responsible for the bad decision. And, if you think about it too, the wifey that married this Tom guy should have spoken up and said, man, look, honey, this is your ex, and we're going to stay at her house. Hells no. Hell no. She did not say that, okay? and maybe she wasn't brave enough, or maybe she was just passive, and I doubt she was ignorant. I really doubt she was ignorant. You don't just get married out of complete ignorance. But then again, this girl could have been another Esther. I don't know. But everybody made a bad decision. Everybody takes a piece of the responsibility. I sound like a parent here. Alrighty.